We are back for a brand new season here in 2026 of the Pokemon League World Championship. Last time out, we crowned our world champion in Ivy. She got to the very top and was able to take down Cynthia in the title final to claim the title and become the first ever Pokemon League World Champion. And in 2026, will she be able to do that again? We will soon find out, but for now, we are getting 2026 underway with a brand new thumbnail. Here it is. On the left, we will have one colour for one trainer, and on the right, we will have another colour for a different trainer. Both trainers will be represented by their own colours. I will have two different colours for a trainer if they clash. For example, red on red will not happen. I will choose a different colour for the second trainer. In the top left and the top right there, those little boxes will represent the position of the trainer in the current championship table. And from top to bottom there, we have our form. The little circles there will represent the current trainer's form, how many battles they've won, and the losses as well from the last three, starting at the top with the most recent and going down to the bottom as well there. In the centre, we of course have our icon there for the Pokemon League World Championship, and down the bottom, of course, 2026 to represent the year that we are in for this season in 2026. And the format will remain exactly the same this season round. It will be a table format with each trainer battling each other twice over the course of the season. Placement, of course, decided on the wins and the losses there. The ties being broken by Pokemon difference, the number of Pokemon the winning trainer has compared to the loser. For example, if Ash were to beat Red by 3 Pokemon, Ash would have 1 win and 3 Pokemon difference, whereas Red will have 1 loss and minus 3 Pokemon difference. The top 4 trainers, of course, will play off for the title, with the winner being crowned the world champion as Ivy did last time out. And the bottom 4 will play off to survive relegation, with the losing 3 being replaced in 2027, which is what happened last time out with Alder, Diantha and Raihan. They are out this season and replaced by 3 new trainers, which we will be going over very soon. The playoffs will be decided now over 2 legs, with the semi-finals taking place across the 2 weeks. And the 2 legs of the final will be in the same video. As for the regulations, there's actually only going to be one tiny change in the regulations. I will not be using Hidden Power. That's the only change that I'm going to be making. Other than that, the regulations, the rules will be exactly the same. No duplicate Pokemon or items. No restricted legendaries like Groudon and Kyogre. However, Red will be using the legendary birds and legendary beasts because they are not restricted legendary Pokemon. And of course, we will not be double switching, as in switching on the first turn will not be allowed. A Pokemon must stay in the battle for at least 1 full turn. And the table, our contenders for this season, we of course have our world champion in Ivy, placing 2nd in the league last time out, but clinching that title. Mega Metagross, Dragapult, Blaziken and Archaludon, some of the potent Pokemon of her massive team. Massive roster of Pokemon that she can choose from. Going with a very aggressive, fast, heavy hitting team. Last time out, will she be choosing the same roster this time around? Possibly, because it was a very potent. It worked, it got her the title, it got her into the playoffs. She dominated the championship for most of it. Had a slight dip in form towards the end, and that allowed this man to take over. The biggest surprise of the season with Wally. With Mega Gallade, Garchomp and Azumarill, some of his major Pokemon that helped him take the top spot of the championship last time out. Wally, a massive surprise immediately shocking the world, beating Cynthia by 3 Pokemon in the first week, and just going on to become something of a giant slayer, and then a giant himself, placing himself top of the league come the end, missing out on the final to Cynthia, ironically, and missing out on the final, being beaten in the semi-final by Cynthia. He will be pushing for the title this time around. Speaking of playoff positions, Lance had an awful start to the season, but ended up turning around and having some of the best form in the entire season. Major Pokemon like Haxorus, Mega Charizard, and that shiny Gyarados making up his mighty team of dragons. A very intimidating team to come up against, full of pseudo-legendary Pokemon, very, very powerful Pokemon there as well for Lance. A very dangerous trainer to come up against. He finished 3rd last time out, comfortably in the playoffs. Missed out barely to Ivy, put up a very, very good fight though. Nearly got to the playoff final. Will he be able to get there this time? Will he be able to claim the title? Or will it be Cynthia, possibly one of the most consistent trainers last time out, finishing 4th with the likes of Garchomp, Mega Lucario, and that Milotic that was so difficult to break down and break through. Cynthia, very, very strong performance last time out. Ended up finishing 4th, got to the final where she was beaten by Ivy to the title. Can she make the push this time around? Get back into the playoffs, get back to the final, and this time take the title? Or will Blue be one of those trainers standing in her way, finishing 5th, just outside of the playoffs? Had a dip in form as the turnover for the halfway mark of the season. Mega Alakazam, one of the strongest Pokemon in this championship, one of the most dangerous. If he can get that out safely, that's a very, very destructive Pokemon to go up against. Along with Aerodactyl and Gyarados, some of his more potent Pokemon last time out. A very powerful trainer is Blue. Can he get to the playoffs this time around? Can Leon do it? He finished 6th. He had an awful start to the season as well, similar to Lance, but just didn't quite have the same form as Lance to get to that playoff. Still very, very consistent with the likes of Haxorus and Dragapult really helping his push up to the top 10 and pushing towards the playoffs. Will he be able to get there this time? He's going to need to get a better start if he wants to make that push to the playoffs. Another trainer that really shocked us, went under the radar for quite a while, finishing 7th was Steven. Mega Metagross and Cradily, another difficult Pokemon to get through. Mega Metagross, one of the strongest Pokemon in the championship, if not tied for the strongest in terms of stat total. Steven has some serious power on his team. A Sandstorm potentially to be able to be used with Archeops there. Can he make use of that once again and finish in the top 10 once more in 2026? Or can he go one step further and go for the playoffs? Will Ash be able to get a better start this time around? Ash, a disappointing performance last time out, finishing 8th, was hoping to get to the playoffs. Big expectations for Ash. Some of his major Pokemon with Dragonite, Mega Lucario, Gliscor, a big surprise in how good Gliscor actually is with the Toxic Orb and Poison Heal. And Infernape, every time that Infernape was on the team, it was solid, it was dangerous with Swords Dance. Can Ash make use of the power that he has to get to the playoffs this time around? Can he push even further and challenge for the title? Next up we have Iris, who finished 9th in the league, had a massive drop in form during the season. Nearly started looking at the relegation playoffs rather than the title playoffs. Iris went from one end of the table to the other, managed to claw back and finish in 9th. Can she lose that drop in form that she had last time out, and can she keep consistent and push towards the playoffs? Dragonite, Haxorus, and that massive pairing of Excadrill and Archeops in the Sandstorm. Sandrush Excadrill, very powerful, very dangerous. Can Iris make good use of that this time around as well, with Dragonite and Dragon Dance Haxorus, both with Dragon Dance there. Haxorus, a very important Pokemon throughout the championship for any trainer that has it. Can Iris make use of that? Can she push towards the playoffs? Or will another drop in form see her look more towards the relegation zone? Next up we have Paul, who finished smack bang in the middle of the table in 10th there with Gyarados, Metagross, Garchomp and Weavile. A powerful lead with Triple Axel, very very fast. Causes a lot of problems, particularly for Dragon type Pokemon. Does that Weavile, and can do a lot of damage to a team very early on and give Paul very early momentum, and he's used that to take down some serious names in the championship and able to finish in 10th. Will Paul be able to replicate that this season and finish in the top 10 again, or will he be able to push even further and maybe even challenge for the playoffs? Would be a very big surprise if he could pull that off. Next up we have Kukui, finishing in 11th. A solid performance from Kukui, making use of Pokemon like Ninetales, Incineroar, Primarina and Magnezone. A very diverse team for Kukui. Was able to take down Wally by 5 Pokemon, a very good performance. Able to take down the championship leader. Will Kukui be able to go a little bit further this time? Will he be able to finish in the top 10? Next up we have Red, who finished in 12th. A very, very disappointing performance from Red. After doing so well and pushing very, very close to the playoffs, he had a massive drop in form and plummeted down the table in the second half of the season. Just couldn't get back going. His major Pokemon are the likes of Snorlax, Espeon, as mentioned before, the legendary birds and the legendary beasts, along with both Mega Charizards that he used in the season, along with the other Mega Kanto starters as well. Red is a powerful trainer, but just lost form completely in the second half of the season. He's going to want to get a little bit better this time. He's going to want to do a bit better. He will want to be pushing for the playoffs this time around. He will want to go for that title. And if he wants to do that, he needs to find some form. He needs to hit the ground running and get a good start to this season. Next up is Nemona, a solid 13th for Nemona, using Pokemon like Pawmot, 2 Pseudo Legendaries in Komoa and Gudra, and the Paldean starters as well. Of course, Skeledirge, Meowscarada and Quaquaval managed to find some serious power with that Quaquaval and was able to climb the table away from the relegation zone and make her place in 2026 fairly comfortable by finishing 13th. Can she make use of that Aqua Step Moxie Quaquaval and push a little bit further, maybe get into the top 10 for Nemona? And what about Kieran? All the way from the Blueberry Academy, using Dragonite, Hydrapple, Poliwrath and Poliwhirl, along with another Toxicroak Gliscor that we saw being very potent. Kieran's Rain team here that he ended up resorting to for most of the season. Can he make good use of that? With Swiftwind, Poliwrath, and a Dragonite with Thunder and Hurricanes that can't miss in the rain. Can Kieran find some way to make good use of that power? And can he find a way to climb into the top 10? Next up we have Mustard. Now Mustard did just enough to climb away from that relegation zone. It was a tight battle down the bottom, but Mustard managed to get a little bit of form towards the end and managed to make his position in 2026 a bit more comfortable, finishing 15th, not far away from the playoffs. Main Pokemon being Mienshao, another Pseudo Legendary in Komoa, that mighty Urshifu, and Corviknight being a difficult Pokemon to take down, surprisingly. He does only have the one team. He's going to need to make good use of that if he wants to stay up, if he wants to avoid the relegation zone, because we have some trainers coming in that could pose a serious threat to Mustard, a serious challenge. We have no idea how these new trainers are going to go, but Mustard will be looking behind him, and will be looking towards the bottom of the table, and hopefully trying to stay up for 2027. Next up is Alan, who just barely squeezed out of that relegation zone and finished in 16th, just above it. Mega Charizard, Metagross and Tyranitar, a very high group of base stat total Pokemon there. All roughly around the 600s, those three. Alan has some serious power in his team. Can he make use of that and potentially push away from the relegation playoffs? Can he avoid it this time around once again? Or will he find himself in that bottom four? And finally we have Geeta, who won the relegation playoffs, just barely managed to secure her place in 2026. Finishing 17th in the table, just barely dropping into that relegation zone. But she was able to win the playoffs and keep her spot in 2026. Some of her main Pokemon being King Gambit, Avalugg, Espathra and Dragapult. Dragapult, a very powerful Pokemon, very fast. Can Geeta make good use of Pokemon like that to keep herself in 2026 a bit more comfortably? She definitely has the potential to turn over some teams with the right use of her Pokemon. She has some powerful Pokemon in there. She just needs to find some way to make use of them and try to push a little bit further away from the playoffs this time around. She has the potential. Can she meet it? And can she push away from the playoffs? Can she avoid relegation this time around? Or will newcomer Tawny take her there? Tawny, I think a very low threat level. She has a very, very small team. Mega Manectric, Ember and Goodra, some of the big Pokemon that I see for Tawny. Once we get access to the ZA Megas in the National Dex, Tawny could become a serious threat. A lot of power, a lot of options in those Megas. Mega Ember could be extremely powerful. Of course, with Mega Feraligatr as well, gaining the Dragon type. Mega Meganium gaining the Fairy type as well there. Tawny could definitely cause problems, could definitely turn some teams over. Ember can dish out a lot of power with Reckless. And Flare Blitzes, Head Smashes will it gets. Mega Manectric is a fast Pokemon that hits fairly hard, especially. Could cause a few problems there in Goodra. Just a very good all-round attacker as well. Very, very diverse moveset for Goodra. Can Tawny make good use of that? Can she avoid relegation? Will she be able to stay up in the championship for 2027? Or will she just take the fight and finish in a big, big spot? Will she be another big surprise? Just like Wally was last time out. And what about Grimsley? A fairly diverse team for Grimsley, although being a dark type specialist. Very, very much a weakness to fighting. Pokemon trainers like Mustard could probably take big advantage of that. Mega Tyranitar and Mega Houndoom are two of the big Mega options for Grimsley. We do see him in the battle tree. He does get access to Megas. He gets access to Z-moves as well. Grimsley could be a serious threat. Has a lot of power behind his team, as well as Crocodile with Intimidate or Moxie. And Honchkrow able to set up Tailwinds as well, making his team even faster. Grimsley could be very, very dangerous in this championship. How will he place? We will soon find out as we get this season underway. And finally, we have Karina. Again, I'm putting Karina at a medium threat level. She has Pokemon like Hawlucha, Mega Lucario Z potentially coming out as well if we get access to the ZA Megas. she will still have regular Mega Lucario, which is an incredible Pokemon. She also gets access to Machamp and Mienshao as well, two Pokemon that we have seen have a good amount of success in the championship as well. Can Karina take the fight to the league in 2026? Will we see some dominance from the Mega Evolution successor? We're going to see a lot of different Mega Evolutions from her potentially. And she could cause some serious problems depending on which Mega she decides to go for this time around in each battle. And speaking of battles, here are your battles for the first week of the Pokemon League World Championship. Starting on the Friday night, we have Ash taking on Geeta. Then on the Saturday, we have Ivy versus Kieran. Nimona takes on Blue. Potentially a low table battle between Mustard and Alan. And then two newcomers taking on each other. Tawny taking on Grimsley there. And on the Sunday, Kukui takes on third newcomer Karina. Red takes on Wally. That's a big battle there. Paul taking on Steven. And speaking of big battles, we have Lance versus Cynthia. That was a playoff position battle last time out. And finally, on the Monday, we have Leon taking on Iris. And that is your Pokemon League World Championship for 2026. I hope all of you enjoy this year. And the battles will be getting underway very, very soon. This Friday, as of this video releasing.